Pokemon TCG Pocket, Mythical Island, card list, and rankings. Celebi is the Mewtwo of the set because of Superior. These cards are busted, they're stupid, and it's kind of weird because, yeah, grass typing comes first, and it's not like the entire set is this crazy, except for a couple of other cards, but man, Superior. Each energy attached to your grass Pokemon provides 2 energy. Grass gets a Gardevoir, and then all the grass cards in this set are supported by Superior. That, wow, 4 energy for a non-EX Executor, 20 more damage for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. So 80 on 4, and then if they have 3, that becomes a 140 hit, and you only need 2 energy with a Superior to make it happen. But Celebi is the card. Flip a coin for each energy attached to this Pokemon, 50 damage for each heads. So you have 2 without Superior. You can just run, like, it's 2 energy, chance to hit 100, probably hitting 50. EX basic card, you just slap it down. And then once Superior hits the field, and then you have like 3 energy on this thing, you're rolling for 300 damage. And you just need to hit a couple of them at that point, and you just kind of win. Shiinotic, who even cares? The opponent's Pokemon's asleep. 2 energy, 59 save. Trash. It's one of those things where you're doing a tier list and you're doing power rankings, so you kind of need to explain it. But it's stupid. And the set just came out, so we don't really know about like all the interactions and all the implications, but it also kind of seems like the Mewtwo EX effect, where there's just going to be some kind of bruise around Superior Celebi EX, maybe a filler card. I'm thinking it could be Delmise, and we'll talk about that. And then that's it. There's no other reason to run anything but Celebi EX with the Superior, even though this might accelerate a Venusaur. But why are you doing that? Why are you going to have 2 Stage 2 evolutionary lines you're trying to charge up? But why are you trying to do any of that when there's a basic EX Pokemon that goes potentially 100 damage, 200 damage, 300 damage? I'm hoping somehow, maybe there's a small chance that this deck is just like flavor of the week, or maybe even like flavor of the first couple days, and the 130 hit points is as exploitable enough. But like, Pikachu just slams, and it needs more than Celebi, and it's the dominant deck. I'm like, is there something here like this fire aggro take off? Because you can just 2-shot it, and then you're trading, 1-drop insta power for 2 EX points. But then once Superior is going, it's actually Celebi comes down, 1 turn you play your energy, and then it can roll for 100 just like that. And if you don't 1-shot it, it does 200 then. Ah, jeez. Actually, Grass gets Erica, so this thing has 200 effective health if you can't 1-shot it. It's just so terrible. And then Delmise also kind of showing like, yeah, everything's built around the Superior for Grass. If this Pokemon has at least 3 extra Grass energy attached, it does 70 more damage. So it's like an Executor that you don't have to evolve, and it has like a 20. So I mean, like, weird things happen. Like, I don't know if this is good enough filler, but it also is, oh, Superior's out, your Celebi goes down, there was already 1 energy on your Delmise, so Delmise promotes, and then you put it, and then boom, just 90. And it still has 100, so it's kind like you can't just beat it up with Pikachu unless you play a Giovanni, and then it just goes 90-90. Maybe it's too slow, maybe it's too clunky, maybe it's too vulnerable. So that's what I mean. We don't know where the decks are going to go exactly, but just like 0 lab basic Superior Celebi, figure it out after that. And until then, this is just crazy. And it's kind of like when you're running like Pikachu and Mewtwo decks. If you're putting anything outside of like Gardevoir and a Mewtwo EX deck, it doesn't matter. Okay, Jinx is pretty good in it, so that's what I mean. Like, oh, if you just find your basic Pokemon that does a thing, and then some extra supporter and however else you're playing it, GG. Let's talk about other things like Rapidash. So we have to consider Blaine for this. And being able to do like 100 plus Blaine on stage 1 is actually crazy. And if it fails, it's just 70 and it's 2 energy. So Blaine buffed? There's kind of a weird interaction though. Like going first Blaine, going first is still terrible, but like you play your Ponyta, they go, and then you evolve Rapidash with a fire energy and then Blaine, and you're hitting 70. That's pretty nice. But with this, like if you're going second, you play, you energy, you evolve, you energy, now your Rapidash has 2 energy, so then it has the chance of just doing 60 more damage. And if you're doing the coin flip trick, probably more. and then Blaine, and you just slam a 130, and then you one-shot a Celebi on turn 2, and then that's EX 2 draw, and it's kind of crazy. So, yeah, also same thing on Magmar. Discard 2 energy for the Fire Blast. Is that a finisher? Like, that's... I don't know if you run that one, but, like, you stack it up, you play a Blaine, and then you got 110 just to take out anything, and then if you're going up against a grass deck... Discard does set you back, so it's a different kind of Ninetales, because once Ninetales gets going, and even though it's going to, like, die super quick on the 90, you discard the energy you use for that turn, and then you have 90. With this, it's a basic Pokemon, effectively dies the exact same, takes 2 turns to set up, but Fire does just kind of, like, aggro, so it's like, oh, where do I put this 4th Fire energy if I have a Ninetales and a Ponyta or Rapidash set up? It's like, fine. Magmar can start stacking up, and maybe I need that damage. Volcarona. Okay, yeah, also like tiers. So this Rapidash, like, might just be crazy. I don't know if the coin flip makes it unreliable, but, like, you're doing 70 on your turn 2 going second, regardless. So that's gotta be A tier, and that's going to do some crazy stuff for Blaine. Like, the thing is, if Pikachu and Mewtwo just weren't tier 0, the game could actually be fun and interesting. We could see, like, 10 different viable decks. And there might be some that are, like, higher power, like S+, but it's not, like, tier 0. Z tier, whatever. So, yeah, B tier on the Magmar. Don't know if that's actually good because of the 2 discard, but the basic and then other shenanigans. This attack does 80 damage to one of your opponents with Volcanic Ash on stage 1. You discard 2, but you get to snipe with it. So if they try to hide something, it's dead because it probably took that damage, and that's why it retreated. And then you can finish off their EX. So that's, like... heavy snipe. I don't know if it's enough to build the deck around, and like 40 damage per turn energy. I don't see it. We got Salazzle. Poison on 30 on a fire type. Nah, there's too much retreats. There's too many outs. Okay, what's Gyarados doing? Discard a random energy among the energy attached to all Pokemon, yours and your opponent. That's busted. Holy fuck. You just Misty. No, they can't do it. They can't make water type support so much crazy. Like, I mean, maybe. Because a lot of people were complaining, like, Misty's inconsistent and water type's inconsistent. And, like, sure, you win, like, a 1/6 of your games automatically. But a 180, so, it can't get one shot. It can't get Mewtwo crept with a Giovanni. And then you get your 4, which is accelerated by Misty. Even, like, a 1 acceleration on Misty is crazy. And then the opponent's just not allowed to play the game. Like, 140 damage. So you can Giovanni knock out a 150, which is pretty crazy. Or you just don't get knocked out, and then you just destroy everything, and then you set back everything. All Pokemon. That's wild. When I first saw this card of Vaporeon presenting, I didn't think it was that good, because is this what water needs? Like, you have Misty. Misty already does so many stupid things to the game that moving around water types don't matter because you have your win condition. But actually, if you can just set up the Vaporeon and it's not too costly inside of a deck and not too inconsistent, then yeah, if your Gyarados or your Articuno is about to go down, you can just take off all the water and move it around and then just reset up and do some pretty crazy stuff. So Vaporeon's ability really showing that it's not only compatible with humans, but other water-type Pokemon very well. Lumineon. See, like, there's just bad cards. Like, this is never going to get play. That's kind of like my issue with Pokemon TCG Pocket, is if they're reducing the power level, they're simplifying the game. I would like to see a lot more viability, but, like, EX stomps out a lot of things, and then other Pokemon aren't even, like, viable. Where it's like, cool, 2 energy do 50 to 1 on a stage 1 Pokemon. You could put in, like, any normal type Pokemon's better. You can just do any... Like, there's no reason to run this when you have Gyarados and Articuno and maybe Lapras EX for the sustain or something. Starmie EX is broken. Like, we all know how all these things interact, so, like, there is no space in any deck for a Lumineon. Dreadnought, Crunch, discard on heads. Does that slow things down enough? The 130 hit points is kind of crazy on a stage 1, but you only do 70. It's like you can't 2-shot things. That's not great. Cramorant, what's my boy up to? Prevent all damage. So it's Doug Trio in water on 3 energy. I don't believe in it. Electabuzz, so that's like Lieutenant Surge support. So the dangerous thing about these gym leader cards is that when more of these Pokemon come out in the future, you really have to be considerate of it. So yeah, they went, oh, maybe Blaine was crazy in testing because of aggro, and the devs didn't want to just like, and maybe they were also, because that's a weird thing about testing, is that you're not going to be encouraged to just only do the same thing over and over and over again to solve the game and then not test other elements of it. So maybe Mewtwo and Pikachu were strong, but then they did the beta test and then nothing was ever nerfed. So I have no idea what the devs are doing. So maybe like someone was just overperforming on Blaine and they were like, yeah, we need to tune down Rapidash or something. And then they went, never mind, it's not that great. We can introduce a new Rapidash. Same thing on Lieutenant Surge. Like Lieutenant Surge just seems trash. But on Electabuzz, like, do you just play one Electabuzz? You just drop it, you put an energy, you put a second energy, you hit something for 40, and then you play... Well, actually, you can't. Like, yeah, this is terrible. Never mind. This is... So I'm thinking, like, oh, you hit something for 40, and then you Lieutenant Surge the 2 energy onto your Pikachu or something, and then you're set up, and you got a free snipe, and maybe you can Sabrina and combo. But you're dead before any of that matters. So yeah, this Electabuzz is terrible. 20 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon on 3 energy with 60, 120 Raichu. That seems good. I think that's better than the other Raichu. So, yeah, you have, like, Pikachu EX popping off and doing things. And then if they retreat something after taking 90, you can Giga Shock them, and that could be pretty powerful. And then you have the Lieutenant Surge there, because Pikachu, as an EX, is going to stay alive a little longer. And then you don't discard all of your energy, and then you can potentially do 120 damage on 3 free energy that got shuffled around. It's like, this Raichu seems more viable for the Raichu Pikachu EX variants. Defending Pokemon can't retreat. 70 Galvantula. Maybe as a chump, but I don't see its place in Electric. Like, what other Electric does it support? Like, Pikachu EX doesn't care about this. So, yeah. Dedenne, and then we just have another, not Pyukumuku, Pincurchin. Mew! Alright, so what's the darling of the set doing? Side report, opponent reveals their hand. Really? They devalued the special Mew card already? Okay, so we just had that. I don't think that matters at all, especially because now we have EX with genome hacking. So 3 turns to then, like, steal Mewtwo's attack and KO Mewtwo. As Mewtwo's doing, like, crazy setup things. And then you have a 130 that isn't going to go down easily. Now, Sigilyph is interesting, because people are, like, chumping in Farfetch to get a free 40 damage, and Kangaskhan is kind of nasty, because you have to, like, 2-shot it in the early game, and it can still do a lot of damage pretty quick. But with this, like, do you want the draw power? Because you're bricked on Kirlia and Ralts and stuff, and, like, getting your evolution for Gardevoir. So you prevent that from happening. Maybe the 10 damage matters, so this is the new, like, 1-drop opener instead of a normal type. Farfetch just trolling anyways. Elgium. So Beheeyem is something else somewhere else. Like, oh wait, we were just slightly out of order on Pokebeach. That's fine. 20 damage for each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Stage... Yeah, that just seems trash. Florges. 20 damage from each of your Pokemon. Psychic. 80. That's an interesting card, but, like, you don't have enough space to have 2 sets of Gardevoir evolutionary line, another 2-stage, and then whatever else is going on. Slurpuff. I'm just wondering, like, okay, if we remove Mewtwo, and, like, people are running Hypno decks or something, are there any, like, is there any room for Psychic Hypno shenanigans? Where we got 60 damage on 2 for a stage 1 Pokemon. So, like, going second, you play this Psychic Energy, your opponent, they can't do anything because they're going first and losing the game, and now you just have, like, 100 health, 60, they hit you, you're fine, and then you do another 60, that's 120. A Giovanni takes out 130 EX, and your Slurpuff brought some acceleration to this, and now your Hypno's set up, and you're putting things asleep as well. Like, it would be, like, Slurpuff beatdown would be funny, if somehow that's possible with whatever's going on here. Like, maybe this actually works inside of a Mew deck, that you just have, like, one off of Slurpuff, some Hypnos in there, and then everything's asleep, and your Slurpuff's chumping, and maybe even scoring KO. So Mew just needs to come in, steal with 3 energies, and then one-shot the opponent with their own move. And if it's their EX, boom, you win the game. Mankey. Yeah, the other Mankey that damages itself and goes into the other Primeape is crazy. Alright, Brock, how much support did you get? Yeah, don't play that Primeape. It's Z, not even Z tier, like F tier. Yeah, just don't play that Primeape. It's F tier. During your opponent's next turn, Pokemon takes -30. So the other Golem, like, yeah, like, see, now we can see some development. Where we have 4 energy, more splashable. Like, who actually thought someone's going to be running a multicolor deck where you have Brock or something? And then the double edge just means, like, oh, Golem 150 is splashable. And that does 50 damage to itself and can still take, like, a Pikachu or something. But that never happened. Like I said, I hate it. If Pikachu and Mewtwo were nerfed, and I wouldn't even care, like, about making it viable. Just, like, delete those cards from being played in any capacity. Fucking 15 decks would be viable. So, but, okay, so let's compare then. Like, now you get 120. You have Brock Potential Acceleration. And over the course of 2 turns, this is a 220 hit point Pokemon. You can also play a potion on it, a 240 hit point Pokemon that can, like, 2-shot anything. Brock might do something. Or maybe the game is impossible to play. I just talked about, like, some cool shit that's possible in this game. Not anymore because Aerodactyl EX. So, stage 1, everyone's running Amber Fossil. And then you can just kind of, like, use it as safety. You play Aerodactyl. Can't play any Pokemon from their hand to evolve their active Pokemon. Does not stop Pikachu. Does not stop Mewtwo. Gardevoir's on the bench the entire time. And then this reduces the viability of other decks trying to creep in. Even, like, Charizard EX or Venusaur EX. So Evolution EX decks are in a weird spot, and then non-EX decks are in a horrible spot, and then you do 160 in 2 turns, and Aerodactyl is, like, kinda killable. So mostly it's like, yeah, Mewtwo one-shots it, unlucky. But it doesn't do anything, it's Mewtwo, so you're not playing this for Mewtwo, so that doesn't matter. And I'm mostly just thinking, like, yo, Pidgeot control with this is going to be ridiculous. Alright, what does Marshadow do? If any Pokemon are knocked out, this attack does 60 more damage. So you have a 100 revenge on 2 energy. So, like, yeah, you can just kind of slap an energy down, get KO'd, and then you play another energy 100, and then you get KO'd by whatever's sitting on their bench swinging 80. Or 60 if it's a Psychic-type Pokemon, which makes Slurpuff Beatdown even more hilarious. And then 3 energy Mega Kick. Maybe, like, they need to errata Brock to also include Stonejourner. This should have been in the base set, and maybe it's interesting. A basic in 2 turns, I can do 90 on 120. Bro, if Mewtwo exists, that's fair. Another Weezing, so Koga's Ninja Trick. If the depending Pokemon tries to use an attack, your opponent flips a coin, that attack doesn't happen. So it's a harder sleep condition, like they can't just get rid of it through evolving or something else, and then the Weezing can Ninja Trick after it finally takes a hit or something. Alright. Liepard. Stage 1 Slash. You're not Blaine. Doesn't count. Whirlpede, does this do anything? Like, you can poison, evolve, go into Scolipede. If they're poisoned, this attack does 50 more damage. So, that's how you combo something out. And Psychic types are going to be feeling this. So, 20, they take poison. If they're committing, they take another poison. That's 40, 70, so 110, and then 50, 160. If there was a... It's actually kind of crazy. Like, if a Giovanni was involved, that's 170, and it's while you're evolving a Pokemon. Not bad. I don't know. Does Dark get something here? And then 1 Dragon, and then no Steel. Ha. Wow, and it's also non-synergy when it comes to running Dragonite. What water or fire type deck wants this? Add to Pokemon damage by an attack. Do 20 damage to the attacking Pokemon. I mean, it's an interesting chump. You don't even run this for any of the energy that it has. You just slap it down like it's a Farfetch'd or a Kangaskhan, and then it does 40 automatically. So worse than Farfetch'd or Kangaskhan. Never mind. Now, here's where things get wacky. Pidgeot EX. So we have the EX variant of Pidgeot, which is already a crazy Pokemon. So the question is, can you evolve to Pidgeot in a reasonable amount of time, where you get the Sabrina Pidgeot out, control them super hard. Pidgeot EX lands with 3 energy because you're just, like, stalling and shifting, and they're losing energy from their retreats and stuff, and you're, like, chipping KOs, and then you just come in and drop a 160 on them. That's kind of nuts. And it does, like, even then, 3 energy for 80 with this, and then if they have 1 or 2, like 100, 120, is good. This seems really good, and I think if you play it in the right deck, where, like, you have a regular Pidgeot and Pidgeot EX, and that's just Giga win condition. Doesn't get one-shot by Mewtwo. Can one-shot a Mewtwo, because Mewtwo's putting garbage on the bench, so that way he can just, like, hide and chump behind them. I mean, this is a very powerful card. Tauros. If your opponent's active Pokemon is an EX, 80 more damage. Finally, we have some anti-EX. We need, like, Pokepowers that's... Like, bro, why don't we have abilities that hurt EX Pokemon instead of EX Pokemon with abilities that hurt normal Pokemon? That's stupid. And I know they're going for the lore of, like, the original Fossil Aerodactyl, where you can't evolve once it hits its primal shit, but still. And they just come in 120 on 3 energy, basic. I mean, I guess if your deck energy floods really easily, and then, like, basic Tauros, and then you just slap all of your side energies on it, and then whatever doesn't want to take one... It's an EX taking 120, that's 2 cards, you win the game. Is it is there a slow enough deck? Is there a deck that can slow down the game enough to then slap this behind and then turn it into a win con last chance? 20 damage for each heads? Bro, that's actually really good. Like, a going second Eevee with a Vapor, like, yeah, you have to have this Eevee if you're running a Vaporeon or anything else, because, like, going second, and then you flip 4 heads in a Misty deck, and then you flip 4 heads on another Misty or something crazy. Actually, like, this has to be the new Farfetch'd. Also, imagine if the opponent just, like, completely bricks, and they only have 1 basic to throw out and start the game, and they're going first. Like, the odds are low, but sometimes that just kind of happens, and then you Giga Flip like you're playing Misty, and that also wins the game exactly like a Misty. It's not even a fully evolved Pokemon, but this is like S-tier Eevee if you're running anything. Chatot. I don't see the point. You know, shuffle your hand to your deck, draw a card for each card in your opponent's hand. But, like, sometimes the opponent just ends up with, like, 7 cards in their hand. And if you could throw away a turn and one of your points to draw 7? And is that worth it? Is that viable? Like, maybe? It could be weird to increase deck consistency, because, like, you play your hand, if it's, like, Pokeballs, and you need to bench and evolve, and then do something else, and then whatever garbage cards, yeah, you just chump the Chatot. And, like, this could be niche. This could, depending, like, it's not going to be in every deck, but the decks that need it for consistency, maybe. Old Amber, people are doing whatever, but now this is, like, Z tier, because that Aerodactyl is ridiculous. Mythical Slab. So what I talked about earlier is, oh, Psychic decks are more consistent. Look at the top card of your deck. If it's Psychic, put it in your hand. So you just get to draw. And, like, you don't need Potion or wherever the speed of the game is going. If you're running Pokedex or Red Card, put this in instead. Now you have your chance to find Kirlia or Ralts early, and then you just get to play it. Now, Pokemon Flute. The game is missing, like, more shenanigans and trainer cards to, like, spice up the game. This card is broken. Put a basic Pokemon from your opponent's discard pile onto their bench. And then you Sabrina them. Or then you Pidgeot them. And then you just win. Like, this is a must-run card. It's crazy. Blue. Until Mewtwo gets nerfed in, like, the -10 matters, like, there's already so many supported cards. Everyone has to run Professor Oak. A lot of people run Giovanni. You also have your gym leader card, you have your other stuff, you're running Sabrina's, and then you have like 3 supporter cards in your hand, and that's your entire hand. You can only play 1 per turn. -10 damage for your once per turn supporter card. Like, this can't be it. Unless this is the response Mewtwo. If you're just losing to Mewtwo, just do this on your 150 health Pokemon so you don't auto lose, even though half your deck, like, most of your deck doesn't even have that. Your 100 health regular evolved Pokemon still loses. Maybe you run 1, so it could be potentially, possibly a B tier card where this saves you, or like Potion into blue, and then you just win a game. So, like, 3% win con increase card, maybe 5, depending on, like, what you're running and how much you need this into the meta. And then, like, you clutch it and you top deck it, and it's your only supporter card you can play. So, 150 hit point 2-stage evolution Pokemon. Well, I mean, it doesn't save Superior. It doesn't save a lot of Pokemon. Like, maybe incredibly niche something, or just bad. So, Budding Expeditioner. Mew EX in the active spot into your hand. I'll have to think about that. And then retreat cost is 2 less. The decks that are successful have low retreat costs, like the Starmie, like the Pikachu, which is like you X speed and you're out in most situations, or X speed plus the energy that you use for this turn. I don't think this is going to work. Because, like, there are some high retreat cost Pokemon that are gated by their retreat costs because everyone else is just hitting and running. but I don't think Leaf is the solution. Unless there's like a weird deck where it's like that Misty Articuno deck where you just have like 2 EX Pokemon that are super fat with super high retreat costs, and maybe the Leaf happens. But if you're running that, then there's no point in hiding them and playing games. I don't know. It seems bad. So, I mean, mostly, like, I guess you have to run blue for the Mewtwo mirror. And then stupid stuff happens. And then Giovanni versus... I don't know. The game sucks, man. But, yeah, with this Mew, like, okay, Mew takes a hit. And then a lot of the hits that we just talked about are like 100, 120. Pikachu's 90 damage is still going to be very relevant. Unfortunately, like, you just lose the energy. So, I mean, it's good to not have to not lose 2 EX points where, like, you genome hack and then you just lose 3 turns of energy build. Except Gardevoir can be ran with the Mew. It's like, yeah, this set is built around Mew. There's Mew support. If you're running a Mew deck, it's mandatory. And that's it. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Comment your thoughts down below. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Thank you very much for watching.